How do you feel about the political trends of the United States, the Western world?
The way everybody feels, except more consciously. I feel that it is terrible, that you see destruction all around you, and that you are moving toward disaster until and unless all those welfare state conceptions have been reversed and rejected. It is precisely these trends which are bringing the world to disaster, because we are now moving towards complete collectivism or socialism, a system under which everybody is enslaved to everybody. And we are moving that way only because of our altruist morality.
Yes, but you say everybody is enslaved to everybody, yet this came about democratically, free people in a free country voted for this kind of government, wanted this kind of legislation. Do you object to the democratic process?
I object to the idea that people have the right to vote on everything. The traditional American system was a system based on the idea that majority will prevailed only in public or political affairs, and that it was limited by inalienable individual rights. Therefore, I do not believe that a majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him. Therefore, I do not believe that if a majority votes on any issue, that this makes the issue right. It doesn't.
All right. Then how do we arrive at action? How should we arrive at action?
By voluntary consent, voluntary cooperation of free men, unforced.
And how do our leaders arrive? How do we arrive at our leadership? Who elects? Who appoints?
The whole people elects. There is nothing wrong with the democratic process in politics. We arrive at it the way we arrived by the American Constitution as it used to be. By the constitutional process as we had it, people elect officials, but the powers of those officials, the powers of government are strictly limited. They will have no right to initiate force or compulsion against any citizen except a criminal. Those who have initiated force will be punished by force, and that is the only proper function of government. What we would not permit is the government to initiate force against people who have hurt no one, who have not forced anyone. We would not give the government or the majority or any minority the right to take the life or the property of others. That was the original American system. Let me put it briefly. I'm for the separation of state and economics, just as we had separation of state and church, which led to peaceful coexistence among different religions after a period of religious wars. So the same applies to economics. If you separate the government from economics, if you do not regulate production and trade, you will have peaceful cooperation and harmony and justice among men.
All right, Ayn Rand, what I'd like to know is this. Since you describe it as happening in your novel Atlas Shrugged, do you actually predict dictatorship and economic disaster for the United States?
If the present collectivist trend continues, if the present anti-reason philosophy continues, yes, that is the way the country is going. But I do not believe in historical determinism, and I do not believe that people have to go that way. Men have the free will to choose and to think. If they change their thinking, we do not have to go into dictatorship.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Well, we made it past the fiscal cliff, and now we find ourselves facing the ominous specter of sequestration. What's the fastener industry to do but turn to predominantly fastener-related talk radio for solace and comfort in a world going mad? Hi, everybody. Eric Dudas here. And the co-host of Fully Threaded is with me, as always. He's the Francisco D'Anconi of the fastener industry. He's the amazing Brian Musker.
Hi, everyone. slightly different, Francisco. I think this one sort of sits in front of a computer programming rather than owning Chilean copper mines.
Yes, much more Fastener related, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think old Francisco is too close to the Fastener business, really.
Well, Bri, I'm guessing the growing membership roles of FCH are helping to keep your attention away from the political theater that seems so hard to avoid these days. Is that something that would be true?
That would be true. I hardly have a chance to even look out the window.
Well, it's good to be busy.
Yeah, you could say. It's be careful what you wish for. I think that's what they say, isn't it?
They do. We got quite a bit of feedback after our last episode, which had a little bit of a political charge to it. And I got one kind of funny email from Bob Reynolds over there at InSequel Software. After the last episode, he sent this thing. It says there's a new commemorative pistol that's available from Ruger. Did you hear about this?
No, I have not.
Yes, they're coming out with a new pistol in honor of the United States Senate and the House of Representatives. It's going to be named the Congressman.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, well, as you might have guessed, it doesn't work and you can't fire it.
Right.
Thanks for that one, Bob.
Thanks.
But we're on to a new episode now, everybody, and this is episode 59 of Fully Threaded Radio, and we're publishing on February 21st, 2013. We're so glad to have you along with us. Our feature segment on the podcast today is a conversation with Nick Smith of Nick's Fastener and Supply. Located in Casper, Wyoming, it almost goes without saying that Nick's business is a portrait in rugged individualism. And believe me, he's not going to be shrugging anytime soon. In fact, the company motto is saving the world one bolt at a time. You're going to find inspiration in his view of what it takes to succeed in the face of today's market pressures, I am sure. As always, Mike McNulty will bring us all the latest industry headlines, and this time he speaks with Brighton Best Vice President of Sales, Steve Andrasik, about the newest version of the BBI website that was just released. And we'll get things kicked off with a conversation with the always charming and informative Ms. Tracy Lehman of Pacific Warehouse Sales. She has a preview of the PacWest Tabletop and Spring Conference coming up next month in Long Beach, and she's just as jovial as always during this discussion. The title sponsor on today's episode of Fully Threaded Radio is Stellfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stellfast. Hey, we're also sponsored today by Fastenal, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, and Volt Industrial Plastics.
Yeah, thanks to all our sponsors, and thanks to all of you listening.
Agreed. This is a great episode, everybody, so don't start shrugging just yet. And we'll be right back with you after these words. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
FastenersClearinghouse.com. Search and source from over 500,000 line items, or just a mouse click away and available at no charge. When the need arises, you won't find a better place to locate hard-to-find fastener inventory. It's where you need to be.
This is Joe Truckee of Cal Fasteners, and Fasteners Clearinghouse works for us.
This is Robert Wanzer, and Fasteners Clearinghouse works for American Imperial.
This is Andy Pell from ScrewCrew.com, and FCH works for the fastener industry.
Join the sourcing network now and show your inventory to a whole new market. Turn slow movers into cash. List up to 10,000 line items. Show them to distributors only or to the world. FastenersClearinghouse.com. It's where you need to be.
Looking for package fasteners of all kinds? How about specials or unique parts that no one seems to carry? At Trinity Hardware Headquarters, we believe in parts done right, and our new catalogue is available online at trinityhardwarehq.com, featuring over 30,000 different types of fasteners available in package quantities, product kits, and assortments, including hundreds of hard-to-find parts as well as the most popular inch and metric sizes. Trinity Hardware Headquarters has locations throughout the Midwest and South, and over 400,000 square feet of warehouse space with 18 million pounds of fasteners ready to fill your requirements. Our featured products include number 3 and number 7 head plough bolts, grade 5 and grade 8 carriage bolts, hook bolts, tap bolts, and nuts and washers of all kinds, plus much more. Visit our website at www.trinityhardwarehq.com or give Trinity Hardware Headquarters a call at 888-232-1010. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right.
Hi, this is Lou from the Olander Company, serving Silicon Valley for the past 50 years. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, back with you. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. And please don't hesitate to let us know how we're doing. You can do that at the email address, ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter under the handle Fully Threaded.
And you're liable to find Eric a little more often on Twitter than you are me. I still haven't sorted out all my iPhone problems, but still.
Well, you had a cold earlier.
Ah, yes, that was it. That was, yeah, right. Thank God for excuses.
Well, it seems like we're communicating in so many different ways these days. I mean, I've been working the phones pretty heavy since the new year and talking to a lot of great fastener people all across the country, North America, actually. And, well, that's just what we do here at Fasteners Clearinghouse. You know, that actually reminds me, I want to mention this before we get too much farther. We had the opportunity to have lunch with a couple of the folks from Beacon Fasteners a couple of weeks ago, and Bob Wegner, the owner of Beacon Fasteners, had an amazing story about the early days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, unbelievably, he used to make like up to 80 calls per day, which I can't imagine that. I mean, if I make 30, I'm exhausted at the end of the day, but I guess in those days he really had a penchant for fasteners, but he was making a lot of calls. And during his first week, he was working for a real taskmaster. And this guy comes up to him. It's a Friday. And he says, well, Bob, how you doing? And Bob says, well, I'm trying real hard. And he says, well, I want you to try a little harder. And when you talk to people today, tell them we're having a fire sale. And so Bob says, well, okay, I will. But what does that exactly mean? He says, well, just tell them if you don't make a sale, you're fired.
Right, that story. Yeah, he couldn't have worked for that company very long. It would have been really terrible.
Well, I think a lot of us who run our own operations work for bosses like that at one point or another, and I guess, that's what drives you in this direction. But
right.
Oh, man, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that would have been just terrible having to face that every day.
And speaking of our operation, we're the people who bring you FastenersClearinghouse.com, FCH Network. It's a large online sourcing network for the fastener industry. Hopefully you're already well aware of it and you're using it anytime the need comes up to find a hard-to-find inventory item or fill-in, or you're possibly looking for a new vendor. On the flip side of that, get with us. We'll list your inventory. We'll drive sales your way, and that's our mission. And Brian and I work very, very hard at that. Brian, you're the technical muscle behind most of what we do with FCH, and we had a little bit of a snafu that we recently discovered involving our outgoing emails.
Right. It was sort of interesting, and it was one of our members called and said, I don't think I'm getting emails. And what we found was that it went back for about 4 weeks, and it was happening to members who were using Network Solutions as their email provider. And apparently sometime in January, Network Solutions changed the way that they accepted emails, and they tightened up their definitions of spam, and basically locked out everyone who was sending these, picture-based emails, what they call HTML emails. They're the ones that we send out where you have little colors and, logos and things. Now, anyone who was using Network Solutions was completely dropping all those emails.
Yeah, and for us, that's really not good news because inquiries are the lifeblood of a sourcing network. So
right.
What we discovered was a few people were not receiving their inquiries correctly, and a couple of our other communications, including for the FDI survey. So we had a little bit of a burp there. We reformatted the outgoing emails. I think most of the problem is solved without getting into too much technical gobbledygook because it's really not interesting.
And it's also, not very pretty, but basically those people, we switched to our old text-based emails that give the same information. They just don't look as pretty, okay? But if your choice is getting an email, indicating that someone wants to buy something from you or not getting it, then you take the former.
Right. And what I was also going to say was that if anybody listening, members of FCH, have not been receiving inquiries as they once were, please get with us. We'll make sure that we take care of that situation. But these weirdnesses out there in the net, you cannot let your guard down. Things are always changing, and I have a good case in point on this one. I don't know if any of you out there had the same problem, but this is going back maybe a week and a half or so. I went out to YouTube, and I don't ever remember this happening before, but I fired up YouTube and I got a 500 internal server error message. YouTube had crashed. Did you get wind of this, Bri?
Yeah, I have not heard of that, but I was fighting in yet another problem as recently as yesterday, which was Facebook was taking an inordinate time to actually return a message to the screen. And it meant that the first, their search page, which comes up when it comes up empty, was sitting there hanging, and it was a bit of a problem. Within like an hour it was fixed again. But there are some weirdnesses going on, and part of this may be as a result of this American company, which has just announced and released very, very detailed information about the fact that they've traced a large portion of the hacking of many sites in the US back to the People's Liberation Army in a building in Shanghai.
Yeah, there's all kinds of headlines about that floating around, and you don't really know what to believe. I mean, I guess for a tech company, it's always convenient to blame your woes on a denial of service attack, and that could be the case. I don't know. But I guess the bottom line is that there's always a possibility of a technical issue that screws up your internet business. I got to give credit, though, over to YouTube, which is owned by Google, of course. Mm-hmm. On the server error that they had flash up, there was kind of a humorous message. It said, "Sorry, something went wrong. A team of highly trained monkeys has been dispatched to deal with the situation."
Okay.
So maybe we got to dream one of those up for FCH.
Right. If that would have come up on our side, it wouldn't be nearly as funny as that. Okay.
I don't know. We could come up with something, Bri.
Okay.
Well, that's the world of FCH, folks. Get out to www.fastenersclearinghouse.com and use the network anytime the need comes up. We'd be happy to have you out there, and if we can ever work with you, again, we're available through the website, and we'd be glad to drive sales your way.
Right.
And turning the subject matter now to more fastener-related subjects.
Oh, why would you sort of do that?
Well, we like to do a little bit of that here on the program occasionally, and we've got a couple of tabletops that are coming up in April. The first one is from the Southeastern Fastener Association. They've got their tabletop coming up April 16th through the 18th. That's being held in Stone Mountain, Georgia at the Evergreen Marriott. And details of this can be found at their website, which is www.thecifa.com. And Stone Mountain, it looks like, is just a little bit east of Atlanta. So probably not too hard to get to if you're flying in, but just far enough away from the city hubbub is my guess.
But I thought you went to that one last year.
I did, but it was in Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
And they alternate their tabletops with the Southwestern Association, which I'll be going to, and we'll be talking about that later. So this is the year that CIFA has their tabletop. And it sounds like it's going to be a pretty good event. Nancy Rich, of course, is the executive director out there, and I know they've got a lot of good things that are happening.
Okay, good.
The other one that we have to announce is the New England Fastener Distributors Association tabletop. That's happening April 30th, and that's in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, at the Sturbridge Host Hotel Conference Center. Now, the New England Fastener Association, they typically, as I understand it, had their shows in the fall, and so they've switched it up this year. And so people who were used to the tabletop happening later in the year, be advised that it's coming up in April, on April 30th. More information on that one's at their website, which is www.nefda.com. And Sturbridge, for those of you kind of familiar with the Massachusetts area, that's just, looks like, just east and a little south of Belchertown, Massachusetts.
You would have to pick that out, would you?
What?
You could have just said it was Sturbridge, not that it was slightly.
You've been there?
No, I can't say I have, actually. One of the places I have not been to. Belchertown.
You got to wonder, you know. Fully Threaded Radio, sporadically keeping you advised of all the goings-on in the industry, folks.
Yes, your little trip around the USA.
Well, Bride, there's another tabletop coming up, and joining us now to discuss this one, we're going to talk to Tracy Lehman, she of Pacific Warehouse Sales. She's also the vice president of the Pac West. Hey, Tracy, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we've got a great event coming up. We're going to have a tabletop. It's free to all distributors if they're part of the Pac West Association or not. It's going to be Thursday, March 14th, between 2 and 7 p.m. And we've got about 30 vendors, confirmed exhibitors, that will be showcasing their product on that day. But in conjunction, we're actually having our conference at the same time, starting the day before, Wednesday, through Saturday.
Oh, that sounds good. Now, you jumped right into that. You got right down to business, and that's sort of unusual here on Fully Threaded Radio, but, you know, I have to respect you for that.
Yeah, business always sort of comes second at Fully Threaded,
yes.
Okay?
Well, Wednesday, somebody was able to get the Navy golf course at Seal Beach, and they're going to have some type of golf program there. I think tee time starts at like 7 o'clock on Wednesday, and then they're going to have deep sea ocean fishing for the people who don't want to necessarily play golf. But the real treat on Wednesday is that Porteous Fastener Company has opened up their facility, and they're going to have an open house for their new facility that they just moved in 30 days ago.
Oh, cool.
So they're gonna,
Wow.
yeah,
that's
so that'd
good.
be pretty neat.
Yeah.
I've been over there now, and it's pretty big, and they're doing neat things over there. So, and after, they're going to have some dinner locally called Mr. V's, which is a great restaurant right next to the Porteous Fastener Company.
Yeah, no big surprise there. Last time I went to a Porteous function, it was here at the Chicago facility, and they had this food truck pull up, and it had the most superb steak sandwiches I think I've ever had. Unbelievable.
That's all right.
You know
yeah.
what? We probably should have thought of that, having one of those food trucks. It's pretty popular here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's the big rage.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But they're going to run over to dinner at Mr. V's, and everything's on the PacWest.org website to sign up. Thursday we're going to have the tabletop, and then on Friday is when we start our conference sessions. In the morning, we're having a general session with Kevin McManus, M-C-M-A-N-U-S, is coming in to do a program, and then we're going to have some Ignite sessions with, I think you've done one. Have you done an Ignite session?
I have done a night session. There's nothing like a Pac West night session.
Yeah, Ignite session.
So this is Ignite.
Ignite, yes,
yeah.
Ignite. Hans Fuller is going to do one, and so is John Walkman, so that should be interesting. And then we have our business owners and our business executive meetings on Friday. And then what's really neat is that H.W. Eckhart is going to host a wine tasting reception for the entire group between 5 and 7. I guess the owners there have quite a collection of wines, and they'd like to do some type of wine tasting for the entire group. So that was really special that they wanted to do that for the event. And then we have reception and dinner that night on Friday.
Wow, it seems like a pretty full sort of a thing.
That's jam-packed.
Yeah. And we're also having Anne-Marie Hoftailing on Saturday to do a session between 9 and noon. And then basically the convention will be over by noon on Saturday. They are going to have some one-on-one appointments with Anne-Marie and with Kevin McManus, who's doing the morning session on Friday.
Well, it'll be sort of fun. Actually, the problem would be trying to work out whether you went out fishing or played golf, I would think.
Yeah, fishing should be fun. They'll take the boat all the way out towards Catalina so everyone can be able to see that. But the Navy golf course should be pretty interesting. I play golf often, and I've never got to play that golf course, so that should be pretty nice for the group.
Oh, seems like someone did a little bit of work organizing this. Is this you, is it?
Yeah, Vicki Lester does an amazing job for us, and we really wanted to make sure that we had a really good program, as well as this tabletop for the Long Beach facility, the Long Beach area, because we have so many distributors in Southern California, and not all of them get to go to Vegas and to the other places. So we're hoping that we're going to have a big turnout for that Thursday tabletop.
Now, if people want to exhibit, how do they get a table reserved?
Well, the exhibitors were basically for anybody that was a Pac West supplier, and it is closed by, we only had 30 booths available at that hotel.
Oh, so you're filled to capacity.
Yeah, so since it's our first time trying to, organize this in Long Beach, we had a minimum facility, and we'll see how it goes. And if it does great, we might be doing this, bi-yearly, and maybe it'll grow and we'll have a bigger facility. But we were basically, it was for the Pac West suppliers, and they got first choice. And from there on, I believe there are a few people who are not Pac West suppliers who are exhibiting, and so they're just a different rate, I guess.
Probably just charge them double, triple, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Now, the only problem that I see with this whole thing is I'm now on the pacwest.org website looking at the calendar here, and there's one minor problem that might come up. I don't know if you thought about this, but there's a little overlap with Fastener Fair Russia. Are you worried about that at all? Kind of drawing off any crowds?
No, I'm not too worried about that, but I'm not really sure who's going to Russia, but I hope they enjoy their trip.
Right. They can go up and say hello to Putin, and it'd be nice.
Well, so a few minutes ago we were talking a little bit about the golfing, and it's no surprise to me that you've got your sights set on that in lieu of the fishing. Just a guess, but I remember last year we talked to you. I think last time you were on Fully Threaded, it was just after the Mel Kirshner golf outing, and lo and behold, that's already coming up again pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, that was Kelly. Actually, Kelly did that segment with you, and she actually was the winner, her foursome, and she will be trying to win it again on May 6th, and that's on Monday, and we're also having it again at Galano Country Club. So I'm hoping everyone will make their foursome and try to beat my sister and her other three guys that are going to play with her. Unfortunately, Ernie Ewegian, who was part of her foursome, he just passed away from lung cancer just about 2 weeks ago. So we might be doing something for Ernie. He worked for Permatex DevCon ITW for several years. I don't have his bio in front of me, but really great band, mentor, and a great friend of the Lehman family for sure. But someone will be in Kelly's foursome.
Well, we're very sorry to hear about that, and also I apologize for my mistake. You're absolutely correct. It was Kelly, and I seem to remember now there's a little undercurrent of sister rivalry there, so we'll be on the edge of our seats waiting to see what happens this year.
Yeah, so we'll see how it handles. Kelly actually is much better in those scramble formats, but get her one-on-one with me, and we'll talk some business.
Is that right?
Is that a sort of a challenge?
No, she's, we were both members of a country club. She beat me twice in the club champion, so I just have to, she's always going to have that up on me, but any day one of us can win. We actually are pretty good golfers.
Yeah, it's almost like a battle of the Harbaugh brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although there's
That's
three
funny.
sisters involved with Pacific Warehouse Sales, and I have talked with you extensively. I've talked with Kelly, and Debbie I have never talked to, I don't think.
Yeah, Debbie has been she was on boards of LAFA and WAFTA, but Debbie is our president here at Pacific Warehouse. She has my two beautiful nephews who are 13. Her hands are full, so she doesn't usually step out as often as Kelly and I do, but hopefully she will be at that spring conference. So a lot of people from WAFTA in the past and LAFA know Deb, but she doesn't do sales. She primarily keeps herself here at the office.
And Pacific Warehouse Sales is an independent stocking manufacturer's rep business primarily, correct? And what are you seeing out there in terms of business these days?
We're in a tough spot because we're in California, and our gas prices, I guess, are the worst besides Hawaii right now. I guess they've been going up every day for 35 days, I think I heard this morning.
Yeah, the headlines are ugly.
Yeah, with taxes, and I've got employees banging down my door for, try to get some money back in their paycheck. But right now, though, fortunately, business has been pretty steady. And I just think that might be moving into a direction that we need to just make sure that we're steady and don't do anything for long term at this point, because we just don't know with the gas prices and with all the prices. Our fastener prices are staying pretty steady right now. So I'm looking to see that we're going to have some price increases coming down the pipe soon. Do you guys see that?
We've been hearing rumblings of that, and I don't think you're alone in your thinking there. When the currency is slowly losing its value, that's the only outcome that I can see. So we'll just have to wait along with everybody else and watch what happens. But thank you very much for that perspective.
I would just assume that we're heading into a direction that we need to increase prices. That's the only thing. All of us do. So I guess we're just going to wait for the first one, and then we'll see everybody have some price increases by June, I would think. But usually we see them quite often in January 15th through February 15th, and we have not seen one yet. So, a few items have gone up, but nothing. The people that have the commodities where it's standard across the board, 5%, 6%, or something like that. We haven't seen that yet.
Uh-huh. No, actually, I was reading an older article from the Harvard Business Review, and it was just a really interesting thing. It says, what do you do in a flat market, and then what do you do in an improving market? And I guess we define ourselves at the moment briefly an improving market, and they said, well, you need to, overall increase your prices slightly and then explain to your customers why you're doing it, because you've held them low for 2 years, and that you need to start adding premium products because that's what happened, what people start searching for. So maybe that's the cycle we're in.
I would think so. I mean, everything's gone up. Our taxes, our electricity, gas. So why wouldn't our paychecks and our products here? So I would assume that everything's going to be moved up a little bit this year. And so that might be a steady for everybody. I don't know. But we don't see a lot of new people coming into the marketplace. We usually get quite a few new distributors monthly here in the area of, small guys. And we just haven't seen that in the last 6 months. So
maybe that area of California is a little bit different. I know it depends on which part of the country. I mean, if you go look down at Texas, everything's just raging ahead in Texas at the moment. There's something like, $10 billion worth of highways being built in Dallas extra to what they already have as we speak. So, I guess it depends on the part of the country you're in.
Yes. I can't say that business has been bad, but I'm just saying that it's something that we just don't know what direction it's going to turn into.
Yeah.
Our building is still, the only thing that's really being built quite often and they continue is medical here. So, private medical.
Right. What does that tell us, okay?
Yeah.
Means we also have to all start worrying about the extra health costs coming next year.
Yeah, they're doing some type of they're going to have that discussion for the Business Owners Forum on our Friday session at our conference. So,
okay, well, it should be pretty good. I mean,
way to drive us back to the main topic at hand, Tracy, and thank you for that.
Well, okay, sorry. I had like 3 cups of coffee this morning, so I apologize.
That's the only way to do it. Well, we'll be talking about all of those subjects and more for those of you who aren't going to Fastener Fair Russia. And that'll be happening once again at the PAC West Spring Conference in Tabletop, which is starting on Wednesday, March 13th, and it runs through the early morning of Saturday, March 16th.
Yes, well, I appreciate your time, and thank you very much, and I hope everyone can come out and join us in Long Beach.
Yeah, sounds like a great venue.
More details on all of this are available at pac-west.org. Thanks for joining us, Tracy Lehman, and we'll be right back with more Fully Threaded.
Fastener Talk Radio. It's like feng shui for the fastener industry. Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded Radio.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH Scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
Hi, this is Heidi Boltrower, reminding you that the All-American Fastener Show is right around the corner. Let's meet in the middle in Kansas City, Missouri, May 8th through the 9th. Details and registration information are available online at allamericanfastenershow.com. See you there.
Brian and Eric, back with you, having more fun than a barrel full of still-fast monkeys, as usual.
But which color?
I think you used that same line last episode.
Right, I think you said the same thing. We're clearly getting stale, okay?
Well, Still-fast is a good company.
Right.
Well, it was good to talk to Tracy again, and I have not been to Long Beach in quite a while. Used to do a whole bunch of trade shows out there in the 90s. We used to have dinner out there in the Queen Mary, and the Spruce Goose was out there. It was a good city to have a convention in.
Yeah, I was sent out there early days when I first came to the US, and there was a software company out there I was dealing with, and I never got to the Spruce Goose, and that was the one thing I really, really wanted to go and see. But it was always some work excuse. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, they moved it away from there. I'm not sure what year, but it's up in, I think, Oregon now.
Right, it got moved away a long time ago, but it was a long time ago when I was in Long Beach.
And one thing that cracked me up, I never forgot, on the Queen Mary, they had a gym, so-called. And at that time, their idea of gym equipment, it was hilarious.
Yeah, right.
They had some of those really, really old-fashioned kind of barbells and dumbbells and stuff, and they had one of those machines with the belt. You'd wrap it around your waist and flick the switch, and it would, I don't know, I guess the theory was that it was going to jostle the fat away.
Right, right. Well, remember that half of the people that the Queen Mary was aimed at would be probably paying their servants to be working out for them, okay? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You didn't actually work out. That was not, you never mentioned that in polite society.
Right. Yeah, they also had juggling pins.
Yeah.
They look like bowling pins.
Right.
Like, I'll be back in a little while, honey. You think I'll go, do a little juggling?
Right. Right. And probably the striped knee-length bathing costumes I used to wear too, for men as well.
Right.
Thank God things have changed.
Well, it's still a great place to go and have dinner, I'm sure, and I think they're going to have a blast out there at the Pac West Spring Conference and Tabletop Show, so it was good to catch up with Tracy and get the lowdown on all of that.
Right. Yeah, they seem they've organized a really fun set of things.
Yes. Well, we have the Fastener News Report coming up, and this time it's being sponsored by Volt Industrial Plastics and Fastener Technology International. And just ahead of that, I want to mention that I got an email from Robbie Gilchrist.
Oh.
Yeah, of Capital Marketing. We haven't talked to him in a little while, but he wanted to advise everybody that the deadline for registration of the Gilchrist Foundation Scholarship is coming up pretty soon. That's happening on May 1st. And scholarships are available to any employee or child of an NFDA member company. So if that's you, then make sure that you get in before the deadline. More details are available at the NFDA website, or you can email Robbie directly, and he's at rgilker485@aol.com. I just suggest you go out to the NFDA website,
right,
frankly. But it's a great scholarship program they run, and he's doing a great service to the industry. So May 1st is the deadline for this year's Gilchrist Foundation Scholarship.
Right.
Hey, everybody. We thank you so much for listening to Fully Threaded Radio. We know that you're all out there talking it up with your friends and associates. We see the number of listeners going up every episode, and that is just so great. Thank you so much. We're going to keep the ball rolling right now and bring on Mr. Mike McNulty.
Cool.
Thanks, Eric and Brian. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International Magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. In less than a week, I'm headed off to Stuttgart, Germany, with my Friday night beer cam in hand, to attend Fastener Fair Stuttgart, which has developed into the home of the world's largest fastener show. This is a prime assignment for someone who likes to stay focused on fasteners, eat German food, and drink beer. The Stuttgart show only comes around every 2 years, so I'm literally counting down the days. But in the meantime, here is today's Fastener News Report. In today's top story, we're going to hear about a new website launch at Brighton Best International. Also in today's report, we have some newsmaker headlines from Barnes Distribution, Smith Fastener, EFC International, Ohio Rod Products, Solon Manufacturing, Tigas USA, and the New England Fastener Distributors Association, as well as a back page report on an important plea for restraint from the IRS. We will get to all of that and the Brighton Best International story right after this.
Hey, Fastener people. Let's meet in the middle in Kansas City, Missouri for the All-American Fastener Show, May 8th to the 9th, 2013. This is Heidi Voltrauer, and I'm so excited to have the show in Kansas City at the Intercontinental Hotel on the Plaza. And getting there is easy. Once you catch a direct flight into Kansas City or make the drive, you can park your car and enjoy the hotel and plaza with all of its amazing shops and restaurants right across from the hotel. We will have the golf tournament, booth setup, and of course our famous Fastener Bash on May 8th. And the show will be on the 9th starting at 9 a.m. We've also added a lunch seminar the day of the show. For all your information about the All-American Fastener Show, look at our website at allamericanfastenershow.com. Hope to see all of you in May at the All-American Fastener Show in Kansas City.
Volt Industrial Plastics is the source for all your high-quality plastic fastener needs, and customer service is their number one priority. With almost 1 million fasteners in stock and same-day shipping on stock items, Volt Industrial Plastics carries inventory so you don't have to. Volt manufactures everything in-house from over 125 different materials, and they're proud to say 100% of their products are American-made. And of course, custom tooling and in-house bagging is available. Contact Volt online at www.voltplastics.com. Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners.
You're listening to Mike McNulty's Fastener News Report on Fully Threaded Radio.
On February 18th, Brighton Best International unveiled its new customer website, BBI 2.0, which promises improved functionality, broader browser support, and a host of other upgraded capabilities. To get the inside story, we talked to Steve Andrasik, BBI's Vice President of Sales. Hi, Steve. Thanks for joining us on the Fastener News Report.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for letting me talk about the new website and giving us this opportunity.
Yeah, I'm glad you could join us. Now, February 18th, this past Monday, was a big day for Brighton Best International as it launched its new customer website. How did the launch go?
You know, it's something that we've been working on for quite some time. I guess this evolution of our site we've been working on since the introduction of the site. But Monday, everything's been really smooth and meeting with a lot of good response from our customer base.
Now, the information about the new launch said that you're going to be able to support a lot more browsers than you did in the past. What types of browsers did you were able to support before, and what can you do now?
We were Windows-based, Internet Explorer-based in the past, and now you're able to access the site on Apple Safari, Google Chrome, and Mozilla Firefox, as well as Windows Internet.
So that really opens it up for everybody. Now, what percentage of your business is done online right now?
Like our online business continues to grow. We're up around 80% of our sales over the web these days. And like I said, that continues to increase as the site becomes more user-friendly and more product gets put on there. It gains popularity.
That's a pretty big number, 80%. And I would suspect now that you've expanded accessibility, it'll grow even higher. I also read that your website gives people access to gives 24/7 access to over 1 million plus square feet of warehouse space without any waiting time. Is that an accurate number?
Yeah, that number continues to grow as well. We just we opened up a new facility in Chicago. Just completed our move just a couple of weeks back. That facility is over 250,000 square feet up in Aurora. So that warehouse number continues to expand as well.
Now, sometimes when people say, I got a new website or we did this upgrade, blah, 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 people are kind of like, okay, well, everybody's upgrading. Like, what can you tell us that makes this website better than it was before? What are some of the key things for customers?
I guess always, speed of the site is critical. Well, that's been upgraded. That's an important piece. Some of the functionality of it has been improved. Over the last number of years, our customers ask us for improvements that have been put on here. So, these are kind of details, but you can choose more than one family at a time when checking items. There's a picture of the product that you're checking comes up as you're looking for the item. Customers can choose multiple diameters and thread lengths when checking parts instead of one at a time. The shipping information now is also confirmed on the emails when the information comes back to the customer. So there's an awful lot of upgrades. All of our new product lines, expanded metric and stainless anchor lines, will all be included on this new site. So I think it's going to be very complete.
It sounds like a pretty big undertaking with all that warehouse space and with all the products and with everybody access. Is there like a limit to how many people can be on this thing at one time, or is it pretty much it's wide open and you've tailored it to handle all your business at one time?
No, it might be a question, but no, it's wide open. We don't really have we don't have issues of slow times or down times at peak usage or anything like that. It's a system that's really wide open and it's been in development for years. So it's been very, very good. And you can imagine if that high of a percentage of our business is done over the web, it has to be a great tool and it has to have very few issues. So our IT group has done a great job with this programming.
Is that a pretty big department?
It is. We have probably maybe 12 or 14 people in the United States, and the same overseas, and so that's the department that runs around the clock for us. So upgrades and if there's things that need to be, if there's items that come up that need attention, we can address issues very quickly. We respond to our customers' needs and requests right away. So whether it's done here in the United States or overseas, we can address issues very quickly.
Well, technology sure is changing, and it looks like you guys are addressing it with people looking up your inventory on not only on computers but phones and tablets and whatever else they can get their hands on to get fasteners.
Absolutely, it really is the way that business is done around Brighton these days. I mean, certainly we still have an awful lot of communication with our customers. I think our customers find doing business over the web convenient and kind of fits their schedules. So I believe it's been a nice addition for our customer base.
That was Steve Andrasik of Brighton Best International. BBI's UK branch will be in Stuttgart, Germany, exhibiting their fasteners in Hall 4, Stand E150. Next up, today's top fastener newsmaker headlines. Barnes Distribution, a provider of vendor-managed inventory for MRO parts and supplies, reports that its automotive team has received the Ford Rotunda Key Supplier Award for meeting standards that ensure exemplary service and support to the Rotunda Tool and Equipment Program. The Barnes Distribution team accepted the award at the 2012 Rotunda Annual Suppliers Meeting in Allen Park, Michigan. Smith Fastener Company, Incorporated, has broken ground for a new building in South Charleston, West Virginia. The company plans to move its 41 employees and its nuts and bolts distribution center into a new and larger facility to accommodate growth. Company President Jim Smith says, "We need more space, we've outgrown the building, and we're landlocked." EFC International has opened a branch office and warehouse in Phoenix, Arizona. The office will serve customers in Western USA and in Mexico. EFC's Western Regional Sales Manager, Rick Gorley, is overseeing the Phoenix branch. EFC is a supplier of specialty metal, plastic, and electrical and assembled components. The Ohio Rod Products Division of the Elgin Fastener Group recently hosted 18 students from the Precision Machining Program at the Southeastern Career Center in Versailles, Indiana, for the purpose of introducing them to the opportunities available in the field of specialty fastener manufacturing. Ohio Rod held plant tours and provided classroom instruction to the students, and plans are underway to expand this one-day introduction into an ongoing manufacturing apprenticeship program and eventual full-time employment opportunities in the fastener industry. Solon Manufacturing Company in Chardon, Ohio is expanding operations with the purchase of 2 buildings, which adds over 24,000 square feet of extra manufacturing area. Founded in 1949, Solon Manufacturing Company develops and makes Belleville springs and industrial pressure switches. Tigges USA LLC, a subsidiary of Wuppertal-based Tigges GmbH, will invest $1.5 million to establish its first North American facility at the Clemson University International Center for Automotive Research in Greenville County, South Carolina. Tigges makes fasteners and connecting elements for automotive, industrial, marine, energy, and aerospace industries. And our top newsmaker headline is that the New England Fastener Distributors Association has moved its tabletop show from the fall to the spring. The show takes place this year on April 30th at the Sturbridge Host Hotel and Conference Center in Sturbridge, Mass. They currently have 60 exhibitors, and they're looking to add 20 more before the show starts. Technical seminars will take place in the morning, followed by a general assembly and panel discussion on how to buy fasteners. Panelists include Steve Wilson, Chairman of Crescent Manufacturing, Ed Werner, President of Easy Sockets, Doug Swain, Vice President of Atlantic Fasteners, and John Waltz, the editor and co-publisher of Global Fastener News Network, as the moderator. Finally, let's turn to the back page for an important plea for restraint from the IRS. In the last episode of Fully Threaded Radio, we had a back page report on the history of the federal income tax to mark the 100th anniversary of the constitutional amendment that allowed the federal government to grow too big to be effective. On the heels of that news, we are hearing an urgent plea from our friends at the IRS for taxpayers to slow down on checking the status of their tax refunds. The IRS is getting overwhelmed and technical problems are rising. So the solution from the IRS is for them to ask us, their customers, to only check our statuses once a day and to try to do so in the evening, or better yet, just on the weekends. Could you imagine what would happen to the market share of a private bank, a retail operation, or someone like Brighton Best International if it told its customers to only check their accounts on their website at night or on Sundays, and never to do so more than once per day? They would take a nosedive. That's what would happen. This request from the IRS is a joke, and these are the same folks that are going to be in charge of all the cash flowing in, around, and down the drain for Obamacare in 2014. Maybe the IRS can get some post office workers to help them with the workload, since they are dropping Saturday delivery service and losing billions of dollars per year. Or better yet, maybe the IRS should let TurboTax or H&R Block take over some of their workload. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International bringing you the Fastener News Report. Remember to send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at mcnulty@fastenertech.com.
Saving the world one bolt at a time. Nick Smith is with us next on Fully Threaded. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Our hearts are in fasteners, so join us in the heart of the fastener industry for Fastener Tech 13. This is Nancy Rich, Fastener Tech Show Manager, inviting you to join us June 10th through 12th for an event hosted by Midwest Fastener Association and Fastener Technology International and sponsored by Fastener Industry Groups. This is an event produced by the fastener industry for the fastener industry. Its success returns to the industry through scholarships, education, and various other programs. Fastener Tech allows many fastener and fastener-related companies a great opportunity to meet with their industry and source many products in one location. The trade show will feature fastener manufacturers, heat treaters, platers, and other fastener service companies. Fastener Tech will also feature educational and industry informational seminars. You'll also have the chance to enjoy several social events. Your time at Fastener Tech will include great networking opportunities. Fastener Tech 13 will be held at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont, Illinois. Be part of an event bringing American industry together. More details of this event may be found at www.fastenertech.com or at www.mwfa.net.
Looking for package fasteners of all kinds? How about specials or unique parts that no one seems to carry? At Trinity Hardware Headquarters, we believe in parts done right, and our new catalogue is available online at trinityhardwarehq.com, featuring over 30,000 different types of fasteners available in package quantities, product kits, and assortments, including hundreds of hard-to-find parts as well as the most popular inch and metric sizes. Trinity Hardware Headquarters has locations throughout the Midwest and South and over 400,000 square feet of warehouse space with 18 million pounds of fasteners ready to fill your requirements. Our featured products include number 3 and number 7 head plough bolts, grade 5 and grade 8 carriage bolts, hook bolts, tap bolts, and nuts and washers of all kinds, plus much more. Visit our website at www.trinityhardwarehq.com or give Trinity Hardware Headquarters a call at 888-232-1010. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right.
Hi, this is Jeff Gagliano from CSM Fastener Products. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
And we continue to break new ground on Fully Threaded Radio, this time in a geographic way. We've never had anyone speak to us from the beautiful country of Wyoming. And we're going to change that right now as we talk with Nick Smith of Nick's Fasteners and Supply. Hey, Nick, how are you?
I'm doing well, sir, and yourself?
Outstanding. What are you doing out there in Wyoming? Are you selling any fasteners, Nick?
Actually, we are. We're probably almost 3 years into it now, and we kind of did things a little bit differently. Instead of going out and going into huge amounts of debt and putting a bunch of stuff in here and then going and trying to sell that, I decided, well, I'm going to go find out what people need and then go put that in here, and then that makes it exponentially easier to sell. And it worked. And so far, so good.
Okay, so what did you find that people in Wyoming are interested in buying then?
Everything that I don't have at this point in time. But it's a learning curve, though, and the people that come in understand that. But I knew enough to have the grade 8 and grade 5 bolts, socket heads, set screws, and all of that sort of stuff. So now my walk-in traffic seems to be coming, I'm gaining about, on a week-to-week basis, I'd say I grow 50% a week.
And you got
Just
the number.
People wandering in going, do you have this? Yes, I do. Can I buy it? Well, of course.
Wow, the beauty of starting off fresh. So you're quite the Renaissance man, and you've done a lot of different things. When we first started talking, I always enjoy talking. We seem to always spend at least 30 minutes on the phone going over a variety of subjects. And you were doing your fastener training through the Pac West and getting all up to speed. And, I mean, how did you get into fasteners in the first place? I mean, what's the backstory on that, Nick?
Well, I was living in Phoenix when September 11th happened, and I was working in the aircraft parts business. Just loved it. Everything about it. It was a great business, very interesting. But after September 11th, it just seemed like the airplane business went away for a while. So I figured that I would come back home to Casper, and with family here, I could get at least a sandwich once in a while if I got hungry. But I still had to find a job, so I ended up working for a little place here in town that was basically a nut and bolt house. And the gentleman that owned the place, we hit it off, and so I got into sales, and then one thing led to another, and then when he sold the company, the people that bought the company took me in a room and said, you're doing a great job, you're the best salesman we have, blah, 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 but since you don't have a college degree, you'll never get anywhere in this company.
Is that right? In the fastener business? Wow.
Yes. So I said, okay, see you later. Then I went to work for another place, and they hadn't been doing fasteners at all, just other stuff. So next thing you know, we're doing $4 or $5 million over 3 or 4 years in fasteners, and they love me. But then it got to the point where my customers, as my business with them grew, of course the demand grows even more. And up here, it's always time and distance. Price isn't always the issue. It's time and distance.
Yeah.
So what I found was nobody wanted to deal with it. So when I started losing customers, I thought, you know what, I've had enough of this. So I quit to start a little corner hardware store that my wife and I could do, and someday I could retire and move on. But the largest manufacturer in Wyoming showed up at my door and said, hey, can you take care of this? And it's a high six-figure account. And I said, sure, I'll do that, and off we went. And that's pretty much how it started.
Amazing how chance works, isn't it?
The next thing you know, you're flying off to the Fastener Training Institute, and you got your certified fastener specialist ranking?
I did, and that was an amazing process that these guys have put together to do that. Knowledge. They say that knowledge is power, and in this business it is. Because it's amazing, one little mistake, somebody could get hurt or worse.
Yeah, this is...
something that seems very innocuous to you and I, it could easily turn out to that. So I decided if I was going to be in this and own a company, that I better have more background than I had. So that's what I did. I decided to go to school. I did the whole week all at once because I just can't see myself flying all over the place for a long period of time, and it worked like a charm. The instructors up there are phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can still name them off to this day, and I still email them from time to time. They're great guys, but they're interested in having people know what the heck they're doing. And you can go to any place here in town, in this city that I live in, and no one else has a CFS that I know of in the state.
Well, that's a great credential to have.
It is. Well, and my goal is to have everybody in the next year will have one that works here.
You're a great commercial for the FTI. I hope Carmen's listening.
Yeah, Carmen's a good guy. He's the one that basically looked at me and said, you don't have to have a master's degree to understand this. Now, if you're going to get into what Salim Brahimi and those guys are doing, and Joe Greenslade, yeah, you better have a degree. But if the guy that sells the stuff over the counter knows what's going on, you pretty much got it made.
So in Casper, Wyoming, who's the guy on the other side of the counter? Who are your customers?
We have a lot of oil field, a lot of energy here. Some wind, but once again, with the politics, the coal mines have been hurt here very badly. And they're still up and running, but it definitely makes a difference.
Meaning what? What do you mean? How are the coal mines being affected in your area?
The current administration does not like coal. They've already stated that. They want to get rid of it all and replace it with sun and wind. And, the people here are saying, well, fine. Let us know how that works out.
Yeah. We got a bit of sun and wind too, but not quite as much.
Right. Well, it's like anything else, gentlemen. I think that the common sense approach works. We were told 10 years ago that by now we were out of oil, that we'd be out. There would be no more. What a bunch of hooey. It's been this way for a long time. We have the ability to be energy independent, and our business, the fastener business, we're involved in that. Believe me, we're involved in that. My main customer builds gas compression units, and they've been building them as fast as they can. I've got another customer that came on last week. Same thing. They're doing the same thing, and they want the same products and the same service. That's what we do, but it's all still tied to energy.
Okay.
Yeah, in manufacturing here, it's not like we have a car plant that builds cars or anything like that because of our geographical location. There's freight to deal with. We don't have the resources that other states do, but, we seem to make it work.
So you're focused on energy. Anything else? Any other sectors?
Not really. There's not a lot of high tech here. Some, but it's almost exclusively energy. Well, construction, there's that too. But it's usually tied to energy also.
Now, Casper's kind of in the east central part of Wyoming, and it's really not that far to North Dakota. There's a tremendous amount of energy-related activity going on there. Do you take advantage of any of that, or is that in your sights for future business?
That is in our sights for future business. We are getting ready to go into the stud manufacturing business, double-ended studs. And the reason that we're doing that is because, once again, we are dealing here with two factors, time and distance. If you go price 20 companies on a certain thing, you're going to get everybody pretty much in the same universe when it comes to that. So the only thing left is time and distance. And so somebody will be able to come to us and say, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I need 400 of these right away. Somebody forgot to order them. I'll have them by noon, ready to go and already doing another order for somebody else. When the thing in North Dakota is the same way. They don't want to keep a bunch of stuff up there because nobody's got the facilities. It's hard to get help up there. It's hard to get real estate. It's not impossible, but it's hard. And so just in time to them is a way of life. It has to be, because they don't want to pay the taxes on the stock sitting on the shelf or anything like that. So it's usually it comes in the door one day, goes out the back door the next.
Well, it's good if you can manage that, actually. Keeps your
it is.
inventory costs way low.
It is. Well, and you look at it from our perspective is, you've got somebody in North Dakota that needs a certain size of stud, and they need a pallet load of them. Okay, they're probably most of that stuff comes out of Houston. Not all, but most. That's priced competitively. But you still have time and distance. Now, I am half the time, half the distance, and a little bit lower price. Why wouldn't they call?
Thus, Nick's stud fabrication facility was born.
Well, we're trying to get it done. We got the World's Champion bandsaw already. Stud Master's on its way, thanks to Joe and the boys at B&G, so we're on our way.
Now, does that mean special types of steel? I mean, this is probably the premium grades of steel, I would imagine. Is that right?
Yes, it is. What we're doing is most of the things that these guys use are grade B7, A193.
Okay.
And so it's pretty much that across the board because of the strength and the characteristics of the metal. Grade 8, for a flange that's not all that high pressure is way overkill. Way overkill. So they use B7 pretty much across the board. Some B7 modified, but it's all about knowing the flanges and the lengths and being able to respond when they call.
Is your inventory all SAE or imperial measurement stuff?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we haven't gotten into metric that much yet because there's just not been the demand.
No.
How do you handle the repping a territory like that? I mean, first of all, it's a little way away from your main facility, and
right.
do you have a contact up there that you use for that purpose, or how are you gonna jump into that part of it?
Well, actually, I have access to 4 major companies that already do business up there. But the problem that they have is time and distance. And they've already got a network up there, so I'm not going to go and reinvent the wheel. That makes no sense. Yeah. So what we're going to do is supply them. And now my wife used to work for a company here in town that was one of the people that discovered the Bakken play up there. They have 4 stores up there, and I can supply them all. So they don't have to keep stock. They can just call me, and off it goes.
Okay, that's smart.
And then there's other companies too, but the oil field, the universe in this area revolves around Denver. That's where the big guys are.
The big guys for what?
That run the oil companies.
Ah, okay.
Most of the big decision makers and all that are in Denver, some in Salt Lake, but mostly in Denver, because that way they can all play golf and do whatever it is they do.
Yeah, they have kind of a short season up in North Dakota.
Oh yeah, it's a very short season. But that's part of the deal, though. That's why it's so hard to get people to work there and do all that, because it's just the conditions are rough. You got to be tough, and there's a lot of tough people up there. I'm telling you.
Right, and a lot of them. I mean, I remember just a month or so ago there was a picture that came out on the web, and it was from the space station cruising over the United States, and it shows there's so much activity in North Dakota that it actually, you can see it at nighttime, all the lights of the fields showing up.
Right. Well, in that, it brought on a whole different set of circumstances for the oil companies, because the oil that comes out of that formation is so pure, for the lack of a better term. Now it's just a matter of infrastructure. And infrastructure is where the fastener business is all over that.
Now, you were telling me that a lot of these fields are located on private land, and that's a pretty important detail to be aware of, isn't it?
It is, because it's hard to drill on federal land. It's not impossible, but it's hard. Whereas if you've got somebody that owns it, and the way that I've been led to understand it by the people who have been up there is a lot of for the lack of a better term, the farmers and ranchers up there, nobody ever thought that there was minerals underneath there. Never did. So they kept their mineral rights. So if they want to drill an oil well on their land, they don't have to ask the feds, to a point, but for the most part, they can do what they want.
Sort of the Jed Clampett syndrome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just wait.
Okay. But this is Jed Clampett on steroids. It's really has served those guys well, and God bless them for it.
Well, like Brian was saying with that satellite imagery, you can see, I mean, the bright light in the middle of North Dakota up there, it rivals some big cities. I mean,
absolutely.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and people don't think, especially the folks on the East Coast, they've never really seen anything like this. They don't know what it's about. They have no idea. Politics has a major thing, because, now they're going after fracking. I can't say one way or the other, good, bad, or indifferent, but there's always that to this. And when it's about energy, I think we're a big target, to be honest with you. But be that as it may, if you go to Houston or Dallas or San Antonio or anywhere along the Gulf Coast, you're going to see fastener businesses that are huge, because the world runs on what we do.
I like how you say that the world runs on what we do, or what you guys do.
Yeah, you need to stick that as a sign up outside your place.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? I mean, that's one of the reasons I always like talking to you, Nick. You're enthusiastic, and you say it like it is. Maybe that's just part of being a Wyoming boy.
Well, I think it is, because we're probably the last ones to be politically correct. I can promise you that. We just don't play that game here, because there's only 500,000 of us in the third or fourth largest state in the union. So there's more people in a little town in Wisconsin than there is here in the whole state. But that's an advantage in a way too. It's much easier to stand out.
Interesting way of looking at it. Okay.
When I have a ponytail. When I was in
that would disqualify you from turning up anywhere near Fully Threaded Radio straight off.
Oh, I know. That's why we do this without you guys seeing me.
Yeah, that's why.
I sat on the dais at a conference next to a guy named Phil Condit, who was either the CEO or whatever of Boeing. And I was about to give my speech, and I said, maybe if I cut my hair, people would take me more seriously. And he looked at me and he goes, look out in front of you. That's not you. You are who you are. If you if you look different but you're still smart and know what you're doing, you're going to stand out in a good way. If you show up, looking like an old hippie, then forget it. Nobody's going to believe you. So it's entirely up to you how you do it, but you got to be who you are. And when I show up at some of these shops, they look at me like, you really own the company? Yeah, I do. What can I do for you?
Well, Nick's Fastener and Supply in Casper, Wyoming, it's the seat of rugged individualism in the fastener industry. I'm definitely getting a clear picture of that.
You just don't have a choice because we're out here all by our lonesome. And, right now it's all about either everything comes out of Denver or Salt Lake City. I'm about to turn that around because who says that I can't supply Denver and Salt Lake City from here? There's nothing that says I can't be done.
There you go.
So we wish you very well in that little endeavor, actually.
Well, we'll see. I think we got all of our information down. We've made our decisions, and God help us all, we're going to go forward with it.
Getting back to the ponytail for a minute, I'm connecting a few dots here. You were telling me before we started recording that you had played all these cities as an active musician in a previous life. What was that all about?
Back in the day when I was young and not the smartest rock in the pile, I figured that I learned that I could play drums pretty well, and people started calling me to play and make money, and I thought, well, heck, that's a lot better than throwing a chain on an oil rig. And so I started doing that, and I did it off and on. I'm in my 39th year of playing now. And those skills, if you can walk out on stage in front of 70,000 people and pull it off, then, yeah, a couple people at a business meeting shouldn't be a problem.
Did you ever play in front of a crowd that large?
Several times.
Wow. Do you know Matt Dudenhofer from EFC?
I don't.
Okay, we'll have to connect you guys. I'm getting an idea here, but we'll talk about that off.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, though, one of the things being a musician taught me was confidence. You don't learn that stuff going out with your friends and partying. You learn that stuff in your basement when no one else is around. And so I really didn't go out and get in trouble or any of that because I was trying to do something. I wanted to be a musician, which, in retrospect wasn't in the cards, but heck, I'm playing in 3 bands right now.
Well, it sounds like you made a pretty good go of it. So,
I do. Well, and believe me, you'd be surprised how many fasteners I can sell at a gig. People love it.
Always thinking. Now, speaking of always thinking ahead, I could see one problem that you have that I also encountered as I was developing our business, and that is when we first thought up the name fastenersclearinghouse.com, we made the big mistake of not getting the domain Fastener Clearinghouse, and thus a major joke for us was born. And I just went out to Google and typed in Nick's Fasteners, and lo and behold, I'm coming up with, what is this, JB Fasteners? What's that all about, Nick?
Well, they had a company called Nick's Fasteners and Industrial Supply. Now, I didn't find this out till I had already made my decision and actually went out and got my website. So my domain actually is Nick's Fasteners, because there's more than one.
With an S?
Yep.
And the S is for what?
The S really is for save the world one bolt at a time.
There you go. I knew you had that covered.
Yeah, it's all over my trucks.
Well, maybe we can use that when I'm trying to emphasize the S in Fasteners Clearinghouse as opposed to Fastener Clearinghouse.
Hey, whatever works, boss,
At least you don't have the problem that we had, which was that Fastener Clearinghouse was some pack of fly-by-night crooks in Los Angeles who also, the website was escort services and all sorts of things in the early days. It was just terrible.
Well, I know, and Eric runs away from that stuff as fast as he can, so yeah, I figured you guys probably want to get on that. It is, but the technology in our business, though, and you raise a good point, because credibility is everything. And the people that are listening to this, they've probably been through something very similar in nature. And it's something that you really have to pay attention to, although I'm not too big on Facebook and that sort of stuff. But some of the young guys, like a lot of delivery drivers, they'll tell them to go get something, and if they like you, they'll come here.
Right.
Well, they do have the choice. So you're catering to people who do use technology. I would say probably 80% of the ordering that I do for the business is all done online.
Are there any sites that you find yourself using more than others?
Oh, yeah. And it's as long as you guys don't have a problem me giving these guys a shout out.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the first one was the people that helped me get started, and that would be Brighton Best.
So you use their website quite a bit?
Oh, every day.
Okay.
Every day. Bob Porter will tell you that.
Okay.
Because he'll call me and say, "You're going to really order all that?" No. I'm getting my ducks in a row, Bob. Oh, okay, thanks. Porteous, same way. And there was a couple others that I just haven't gotten a chance to do, but every time I can, I will. Our new computer system is going to be tied into both of those guys.
And you're with Computer Insights, correct?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Denny will love me.
Well,
he's in Fort Myers for spring training, so
right.
This is where I wish I was.
or rest and relaxation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're very glad to have an interface between FCH, our network, and Computer Insights, the Business Edge platform. We've also got that interface set up within SQL and with Distribution One. But
absolutely,
these ways of moving data between these various systems, I think, is going to be more and more important as time goes on. And good to know you're out there, part of the network, Nick.
Oh, well, and I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing, because I saw what the ILS did for the airplane industry. And it basically was the reason that it got as big as it did for the third-party spare parts business.
Right.
Because they had to have a way to communicate with each other. But it's hard to do when the people that own the various businesses hate each other. But you still have to do business. So, really the ILS was kind of the buffer between them, and then it just grew from there.
Right.
Parts Base, all those guys. And what you guys are doing is exactly that. You're giving the little guys like me, you're giving the big guys access to us. And I don't have to go hire a salesman and put them on a plane and stuff, and no, I'm not going to pay you anymore.
Oh, well,
Come on,
we clearly we failed in one of our objectives then.
I know.
Surely,
will be here shortly.
Surely you're looking for our premium membership service.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I'm looking for it. I'm not sure that's what I'm going to get, but that's what I'm looking at. No, look, the service you guys provide has been needed for a long time. And how to centrally get information to people that's a growth business. The model you have is absolutely correct.
Well, it was only a matter of time and distance, right?
It is. That's what it's all about, because you can look around your shops, all of the people in my business, and everybody's got their corner of things that, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it's worth something, so I don't want to get rid of it. Well, here you go. Now you've got your shot to do that, because somebody out there needs it, I know. It just works that way.
Right. We hear that from people all the time, and the interesting thing is sometimes that little pile of stuff sitting somewhere is probably not in a computer system, okay? It was never put in.
And that is the issue. Visibility is really key. How are they going to know?
Yeah. I mean, we have members, I'm thinking of some using Distribution One at this moment, who, we deal with separate, equivalent sales locations, some of which is the stuff that comes across from the computer system, and others which has been maintained manually that was never put in the system.
Yep. And that's something that we're finding too, that I'm trying to get away from, but at the same time, the methodology of how to do this is always interesting. There's always a niche for everybody somewhere, but for you guys, it's all about visibility.
Yeah, that's what we claim.
And if people say they have 10,000 of this particular fastener and a big company wants it, and you say, I've only got 9,800, they're going to say, forget it. So you need to be accurate when you list what you do.
Right.
I've been on both sides of that equation, both as a buyer and a seller. And it's aggravating when you come back and you're too short, and they may be the only ones in the world that have it.
Well, in terms of Fasteners Clearinghouse, then usually, but not always, that means that the person will buy from two different people. I mean, it's unusual. Now, given the number of items we have online, it's very rare that only one single answer comes up.
Right.
It does, but I haven't seen that for a couple of years by now. But you're right. People prefer to deal with one supplier. That's logic.
It is, and it makes the billings easier. The relationship part of it helps a lot too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just don't forget the people that helped me when I started.
That's a good way to be.
Well, it is, and there were people that said, no, you're not big enough, we're not going to have anything to do with you. Well, they've all been up here already, knocking on my door going, well, I think it's time we talked. Well, maybe not.
Very satisfying, isn't it?
It is, it is, but but
Right.
I try not to get too carried away with that. I'm in no position to be that nose up in the air-ish, I guess you could say. I just want people to do what they say they're going to do because that's what I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And once in a while, there's a bump in the road, but for the most part, people understand that up here, I'm trying to build a reputation. And a reputation is that if I say no, I can't do it.
Right.
But if I say yes, you can count on it.
It's hard earned.
It is. And, someday we'll run out of miracles, but not yet.
Man, there's so many potential titles for the podcast that I could pull out of this conversation. I keep jotting them down, Nick. We're going to have to wind this down. I've got too many to pick from now.
Well, and another thing, and Eric, you and I have talked about, I went to a energy exposition last year, and I really didn't have any high hopes for much of anything. It turned out to be not what I had hoped, but it was still okay. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from somebody who happened to stop by the booth up there last August, and we're talking about a six-figure order right now.
Wow, that's cool.
You never know.
You never know.
You don't. I was playing a gig at a bar talking to a guy, and we just talked over the evening, and the last thing he did was hand me a card. I've done 2 orders for him.
It's good that things work that way, okay?
Well, when you market, you have to market.
Well, Nick, that's another piece of your philosophy that I think everyone can agree with. And since we probably confused the hell out of everybody a few minutes ago when we were discussing your URL, how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, okay. Well, I should have it by the time this broadcast. We'll have the website back up. It's www.nixfasteners.com.
With an S.
With an S.
With 2 S's, actually.
Right. That's how you get a hold of us. There's emails, addresses listed on. I've got a very good crew here. If I'm not around, they'll do their best to help you and get you taken care of. It's all about service.
Well, Nick Smith of Nick's Fastener and Supply out there in Casper, Wyoming, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better, and I hope you'll come back and speak with us again when we can look back and see how you took the oil fields over with your rod business.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate that. I don't think I'll be taking anything over, but hopefully I'll earn a living, make sure that the guys that work with me earn a good living, and give something back to the community.
Yeah, I think that's where we live.
And that's what we do. And I appreciate you guys doing what you do, and now I have to go get my list together, and I'll get signed up with Eric today.
All right, Nick. Thanks again. Hey, is that light at the end of the tunnel, or is that Wyatt's torch burning? We'll find out in just a minute on Fully Threaded.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory, because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH Scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSQL, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
Hi, this is Hugh Hewitt for the Injured Marine Semper Fi Fund, www.semperfifund.org. Over the past 7 years, twice a year, the wonderful people who operate the Semper Fi Fund and many amazing Marines who have been the beneficiaries of the charities that have supported the Semper Fi Fund, including many thousands of individual donors, have come into my radio studio to tell their amazing stories of serving their country, of being wounded, and how the Semper Fi Fund has helped them make that transition back to recovery. Unfortunately, Bethesda and Walter Reed are full again. More and more men and women are coming back from the war injured, sometimes awfully so. We need the Semper Fi Fund to be there for these Marines and those soldiers, sailors, and airmen who served alongside of them. Please consider a gift to the Semper Fi Fund. Very low overhead, extraordinary capacity to get money where it needs to get in a hurry, and great management, including some of the senior Marines who've ever served under the flag. When you're looking for something to do that will make an impact, please check out the Semper Fi Fund. That's www.semperfifund.org, www.semperfifund.org.
Brian and Eric, your online Fastener Talk Radio brothers in thread. Fully threaded radio.
This is JR from JHP Fasteners, the precision fabricators and distributors' #1 source. Come visit us and the Fully Threaded crew on Facebook and Twitter for the latest in fastener news and facts. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, carrying the online fastener weight of the world on our shoulders, back with you.
Right, and just in case and just before someone complains about the fact that not only can I not program, I can't actually count, I did try and fix up the fact that there are 3 S's in Nick's fasteners.
What are you talking about?
I said, I was making a comment about the number of S's, and to be careful about the last S in Nick's fasteners.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2 S's with 2 S's, okay? It's like a guy I was at university with he was having trouble with his younger brother in those days, and his little brother was annoyed with this guy. He said, "You're just dumb, D-U-M."
Yeah. Another one of those 3-letter words, J-O-B-S.
Yeah, right.
Well, I did check, and nicksfasteners.com is online, so he was true to his word, and Nick Smith got his website up and running. It's worth a look. I think it's a good first try, but looks like they got a little polishing to do. But it was great talking to Nick, and hey, you never know. Maybe someday we'll wind up out in Wyoming, and we got a place to get a sandwich, possibly.
Right. A little bit of drive from the bits of Wyoming that I know, which is the Jackson Hole. But there's worse places to be than Wyoming, I have to say that.
I couldn't help but thinking while we were talking about those North Dakota gas fields, though, from the novel Atlas Shrugged, when Wyatt Ellis set his oil fields on fire in disgust and when he was checking out and going galt. I wonder if that's ever going to happen up there.
Yeah, well, fortunately, it's all private land still, isn't it? It hasn't quite yet been taken over by the government, but in Atlas Shrugged, that's the next move.
Right. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on that issue. And, once again, it was great talking with Nick Smith of Nick's Fasteners and Supply out there in Casper, Wyoming. Appreciate him joining us and our other guests on today's episode as well. And they were from Pacific Warehouse Sales, Tracy Lehman, and, of course, Mike McNulty with Fastener Technology International Magazine. He spoke today with Steve Andrasik of Brighton Best. Thanks to all of you.
Yes, thanks.
And the title sponsor of today's episode of Fully Threaded Radio was Stelfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stelfast. Hey, we were also sponsored today by Trinity Hardware Headquarters, Fastenal, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Fastener Technology International. As always, folks, get with us anytime. You can do so at the email address ftr@fullythreaded.com. Look for us out on Twitter under the handle Fully Threaded, and look at our Facebook page for Fully Threaded Radio, and there you will find a plethora of supporting links and other odds and ends, and feel free to communicate with us that way as well.
Right. In general, there's postings there that relate to some of the things on our predominantly fastener-related podcast.
And speaking of predominantly fastener-related, those of you who never like it when we delve too far away from the topic of fasteners, maybe you should just quit the show right now. And I really hate to depress everybody right now, because that's really not what I mean to do, but I just can't overlook this kind of keeping in theme with today's episode. Got a document here from our health insurance company for the Fully Threaded Fasteners Clearinghouse family. Of course, we're a small group in health insurance terms, and I'm not going to mention the company. I'm sure they're all doing the same thing now because the ACA legislation is mandating it. But this document is to advise us of a summary of benefits and coverage regulatory requirement. And this is one of the first kind of overbearing documents that I've gotten as a result of the ACA. And fortunately for you, Brian, you aren't the administrator of our health plans. You don't have to wait for all this stuff. But
thank God.
I'm telling you, it's straightforward enough, but it's really bureaucratic, and it's spooky. I'll give you an example. The subheadline here is for insured plan sponsors with fewer than 100 lives. That's spooky.
Yeah, that they refer to a person as just as a life.
But the thing that really kind of bothers me about this whole thing, well, there's so many, but the last section on this document on the back page, it's penalties for noncompliance. And This is the first time that I can recall ever being threatened by my health insurer to the tune of $1,000 a pop if I don't do the various things that are outlined in this document. So they are threatening to fine us $1,000 per covered participant. And it's just got all this bureaucratic gibberish to explain that. And you know what? I really don't like that.
You and a lot of the other people who have been a little bit frightened, very wary and frightened of what Obamacare really means to us.
Well, folks, again, I didn't really want to end the show on a super sour note, but we've been talking a lot about the theme here, which is overbearing government, and we're coming face to face with it in almost every aspect of our lives now, including our health insurance. You all probably know. So how do we tie that back to fasteners, Bri?
Yes.
I know there's really no logical, sane way to answer this because there's just apparently no escaping it. I guess there's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
Well, start shrugging.
Think of atlases.
And that'll wrap up episode 59 of Fully Threaded Radio, everybody. We sure do appreciate you listening.
Yes. See you next time, okay?
For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, and pay some taxes, everyone. And we'll talk to you next time.
Right.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.